Welcome to the SaintsCityMe podcast. I'm Michael, and as always, I'm here with my wonderful co-host Dan. We're the podcast that sends heartfelt international audio messages to our beloved city and team, whilst diving deep into the world of football fandom, cultural connections, and the enchanting spirit that defines the city. Today, we're joined by a guest who is, in my eyes, and I think we'll touch on this later, is almost like an international fan. A lot of people will have heard of this individual and will have been inspired by some of his work that we've seen. We're very, very happy to welcome Jay Frostt onto the pod. How are you, Jay?
Good. How y'all doing today?
Doing good. Friday, always like a Friday. Friday pods.
Yep.
Their favourite.
Yeah.
A bit earlier in the day than we normally do them. We're quite sober, so it's quite a good thing.
Good thing for you, Jay, that we're quite sober. We've started to become a little bit more professional in our podcasting, whereby we haven't been getting absolutely tanked before we talk to people. So hopefully,
I can go both ways.
Yeah, hopefully the quality's improved in some ways. Sorry, it's just me. Just from the point of view of where we stand, we always talk to international fans about how they became fans of the Saints, a small market team. You know, it's not something that you'd often sort of get in this country. How did it happen for you, Jay? You were born in.
So yeah, I was born in Massachusetts, so New England territory, and but my parents, they were from Chicago.
Yeah.
And one of the first football games I can remember watching was actually the Saints lost, and the Saints played the Bears. It was the NFC Championship in Chicago. And that's the first game I watched with my dad. And then after the game, I kind of just stuck with the Saints ever since then. And then really, like, that just snowballed into everything. Like, learning the city, like, learning about the culture, looking things up, and all this. It was all tied hand in hand together for probably since I was like in 7th grade, 8th grade, roughly. So
yeah, that's the year I became a fan. So 2006. It's quite a vintage year, I think, for fans for a number of reasons. I think you speak to different fans, and they've all got a different reason. And I like it when we talk to someone who's become a fan after a loss as well, because it's like most people would jump all over the winning team, but when you see a team loses, it's like that underdog mentality. And I think that's sort of runs throughout New Orleans, doesn't it? It's like doesn't matter, we'll be fine, and we'll keep going, and we'll enjoy ourselves. And I think that sums that up there.
Yeah, that's what attracts me most to the city is like the resiliency, pretty much. Like the city's just so resilient, and everything it goes through, it finds a way to bounce back and keep evolving. And that's just kind of like morals and like codes that like I want to grow my life off of. So that's what attracts me the most to New Orleans.
So when did you move down, Jay?
I moved down. This is my 3rd year down here. So I moved down in 2020. The first time I ever came to the city was 2017 for 2018 for a Rams Saints game with my brother. My brother's a Rams fan, unfortunately. So I've seen the Rams play in Los Angeles. I've seen them at the Coliseum. I've seen them in Buffalo. And then my first time coming down was then. And that's when I really fell in love with the city. And within like 3 hours of being here, I was like, that's it. Like, I'm moving here, man.
Really? So on that first visit, obviously so you went to the Dome on that first visit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let me tell you
explain to us what that's like, because we've talked to many Saints fans, especially from the UK, and there's this enchanting thing that goes on when you hit the Dome. So let's hear how it was for you, Jay.
My first time coming to New Orleans, so this is my first weekend. It was in November, and we're here for the Saints-Rams game. And it just so happened they did Sunday Night Football in Fulton Square. So like the whole setup was there. Like Drew Brees' wife and kids were there. Randy Moss was there. Rex Ryan was there. Like I caught beads from Randy Moss, like out. Like it was insane. So then we take the walk down and we walk to the Superdome, and it's Saints Rams. Rams were 8-0. Saints were 8-1, I believe. Saints had a big lead, and then the Rams ended up catching up. And then that Michael Thomas pass up the sideline for the victory, pretty much the dagger that sealed it. I've never heard a stadium so loud in my entire life. And as soon as we walked out that stadium, I actually tried canceling everybody's flights on the way home. That's to go back. Like I was set on staying, but we had one friend that had to be back, and he dragged us to the airport. And then 2 years later, I moved down here, and that was it.
It's funny.
So that initial visit impacted you that much?
Yeah, that initial visit, just the energy. It's like everyone talks about the energy in New Orleans, but I feel like only a few people actually get to like experience what that energy is. And the Saints are just like a funnel straight to that, to like finding out what it really is and like how impactful a football team could be for a city. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's that thing, isn't it? About the you go to church on Sunday, but what is the church?
Exactly.
It's the connection between the city and the team is phenomenal, and I think it's a very rare thing in the NFL to have that type of connection. And you've spoken on it. That's remarkable that you went there for that period of time, and you sort of almost made up your mind at that point that you were moving there at some point. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then
that's actually a. Sorry, go on, Jake.
So
I was just say that's
for the move, but you could go.
I was going to say that's the second time that game. It's the second time that game's actually come up on this podcast. That Rams game in November, because our friend Di from Wales, he went to that game. He said, after Michael Thomas caught that catch, there was no way you were telling him that we wasn't going to the Super Bowl. He came home and booked his flights out for the NFC Championship game, even though we wasn't even there. So that shows you that game being in the dome, it just says exactly what you've said there.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal game as well. Jesus, it was like a boxing match, wasn't it? It was like just haymakers being thrown every 5 minutes.
We jumped out ahead early too, and everyone was feeling good. So the dome was already rocking, and then they came back, and it was tied up for a little bit, and then we got like another 14-point lead, I think. That last pass to Michael Thomas at the sideline, and then like everything was like shaking. It's so hard to explain. Like I still haven't been back to a game that has matched that game.
Yeah.
Like I'm chasing that still. Like,
well,
hopefully excited for a trip now.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully this season we might get that, because I think me and Dan have sort of seen, even for fans from afar who obviously don't have the ability to go to as many games as people in the city, the last couple of years when you've noticed there's like a little dip in the atmosphere. The first couple of times that I went, genuinely, I'd never seen anything or heard anything like it. And it just, you can feel the adrenaline rushing from other people into your own veins. Unfortunately, the last couple of times, apart from last year when I went to see the Raiders, because that was a great victory, the last couple of times the atmosphere has just been dipping. But also you had all that COVID situation. A lot of fans weren't turning up because of that, but also the team weren't performing. But this year, like after that first game, the atmosphere in the dome for that first game, after Jimmy did the Who Dat chant.
I was there at that game too. I was there this weekend. Last weekend.
Jay, man, stop it.
So I try to go as many games as I possibly can now. So typically I'll miss like 1 or 2 of the home games, and then I try to travel to one game every year at least. So this year I'm thinking about going to either Minnesota or Houston, but I always last second. So.
Yeah, that's very much like me, mate. We're coming over in November, and everybody, I think there's 6 of us from the UK who are coming over in November. They've all booked everything, flights, hotels, this one, that one. I haven't. I only booked the hotel because I
because I made you
last minute letdown. Yeah, and so I had to. I still haven't got my flights, but I'll be there. I
tell you, I was going to say, I tell you this. I obviously said, Joe, we follow you on Instagram and Twitter, and we could see you was at the game. It felt like everyone I followed was at the game on Sunday. Delvin Stowe was there, and you can see our guy Max was there, and Corey and our friend Joey, who you did the tattoo on last year. It's like everyone was there, and I was just like, damn. I'm like, what is it? 4,600 miles away, and I just want to be there so bad.
Right.
It's just like nuts.
Home opener, it was a must. You got to go to the home opener every time. So
yeah. I'll get over for one of those one year. Absolutely.
It was fun. It was a real fun one. Nail biter towards the end.
Yeah. But that's what makes the victory even sweeter.
When you look back on it, you're like, oh, it wasn't. We didn't like. Because we won the way we did, I felt like we'd had a big win. And you look at the score, you go, well, it wasn't like a blowout, but it felt like it to get it at the end. And then that go route to Shahid to basically finish him off. It was like that was as good as a touchdown, that pass completion. It was just brilliant.
And
it
also,
it was a great win. It's a good character.
What's beautiful about it is that obviously all the memes that have come out when you've seen the mic'd up stuff, which was brilliant. But also that was great because I know we haven't given the national media any reason to be interested in us the last couple of years, but the fact that the first real big section of the NFL mic'd up thing was 5 or 6 minutes about the Saints. Yeah, that as a fan, even though and we know the national media sort of ignores us most times, but it was almost like, oh, we're back on the map. We're sort of there. But I mean, Jameis with that, is just absolutely brilliant. I love it.
It feels very 2018, like coming off the season.
Yeah. I just feel so good. I feel so much to feel good about. Many good news stories for the team. Like Mike getting that first catch. We went. We were sitting in my bar. We just went absolutely nuts, didn't we, Mike? Just empty.
Yeah.
I was shouting, "He's back! He's back!"
Yeah, that's exactly how I was. Mike Thomas is my guy. Obviously, I got all his jerseys. Like that was my player. So that first catch back, I was like, "Let's go!"
Yeah.
Who was it? Out of interest, Jay, who was your player growing up?
My favorite player growing up was the first one was Reggie Bush. But I'll say my first real one, once I was entrenched in the fanhood, Jimmy Graham. Big Jimmy Graham guy. I would go to school every day screaming Jimmy all through high school.
And now you can do it again, Jay. You can do it again when customers come in. You can shout at them, Jimmy.
And then when he led the Who Dat chant, awesome. That was a great moment.
That must have been amazing for you growing up with him being your favorite player, getting to live in New Orleans, and he comes back for a game, and it's your first game of the season. Just you must have been absolutely pumped.
Really pumped. The year I got his jersey, and we traded him the very next year, and I was but I kept the jersey my entire life, and as soon as we signed him, I broke the jersey out. I had my girlfriend wear the jersey to the game. I was like, "Yo, you're wearing this."
I remember seeing your tweet when he came back, and you had it laid out on a surface like Jimmy's back.
Yeah. That's my studio desk. I had it all laid out. I was like, let's go. So
yeah, that's incredible. I mean, yet again, it's the stars are aligned for you, Jay. You move to the city, you're becoming a regular in the Dome, and you get your man back performing.
I know. Now we just need a touchdown, a Super Bowl.
Oh, and his first touchdown has to come in the Dome. It would be an absolute travesty. Well, hey, look, we want him to be a red zone weapon anyway, but it would just be glorious if his first touchdown since coming back was in the Dome, because that roof, when you look up it sometimes it doesnn't look like it's fully intact quite often. It would absolutely shatter, I think, onto the floor.
Well, after he scores.
I
remember I was in the toilet when Demario Davis got the interception in the NFC Championship game, and the roar was so loud you could see the tiles or whatever was on the ceiling was moving. It was so if that was for that, imagine what it's going to be like when Jimmy scores. I think we'll feel it here in the UK. It was that loud, definitely.
Gonna come up on a few of those earthquake graphs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Just to talk, obviously, you made the decision to move to the city. How long ago was it now, Jay?
So this is my 3rd year down here.
Okay.
It's been great since I moved here. Like, I loved it. So the Saints attracted me to the city originally.
Yeah.
And then just like I said, all throughout high school, I never came here. I don't know nobody down here. There's no family members down here. I didn't even have a friend down here, like knew not a soul. But I just grew up loving the Saints. Like, I loved the Saints so much. And like I said, my whole room was like Saints colors. I did this whole New Orleans mural on my parents' like ceiling, and they're like, "What the heck are you doing?" Like, you never. But 2018, I had my first chance to come down here. Fell in love with it. 2 years later, I moved down here. So 2020, I moved down here in the middle of COVID, towards the end of it. But decided, I was just like, whatever, like, let's just go. Packed everything up, me and my girlfriend and my dog, and the rest was history.
Did your significant other, your girlfriend, have any issues with moving to the city, or was she?
She's never been here either at the time.
Oh, wow.
She's never been here either. She don't have no family down here either. We both just packed up.
Yeah.
So we did it. We gave it a try, and then I remember my first month here, I didn't even have a job. So my first month here, the whole time I was just going around to tattoo shops and just knocking on the door pretty much like, "Hey, I tattoo." And then I got my first start at Art Accent, which was actually owned by the first Black woman tattoo artist in America. And it was the oldest shop in Louisiana. It was 43 years old until it closed. And the only reason why it closed was because they sold the building on her. And like closed for any other reason. But so that's where I got my start, and that was like, honestly, it was just such a great year. Like, between Saints Twitter and like a bunch of Saints fans just coming and seeing me, and, like, putting the word out. Like, I feel like I owe Saints Twitter all my like success, because they really put me on the map down here in New Orleans. And then the rest was history. After that, I met the current guy I work for. I'm in a private studio right outside of New Orleans. It's like a 10-minute drive. And that's where the gallery is too. So
that's Hidden Dimension, isn't it? Dimension Studio. Yeah,
Hidden Dimension Studio. And then the gallery is attached to it. We just opened a gallery space too. And I'm going to be doing a party on November 4th. So this work you're seeing behind me, all this is in progress. None of it's done yet. But this is all part of the New Orleans series I'm going to be working on. And I want to display, I'm shooting to display all of it on the 4th, but it's a tall order, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, when I come down for the tattoo on the 1st, like, Dan's already said to me about obviously getting some prints and stuff, because I'm not sure me and Dan could afford an original.
I know, I'd love an original, but I wouldn't trust the airline getting it back.
That's see, Jay, that's part of the problem. Like, I've got quite a lot of art from the city when I've been over. But there have been pieces that I've seen, and like it's as an independent artist in New Orleans, and I think we'll touch on this a little bit later. It's obviously it's difficult because it's a huge market and there's competition. But I think we'll probably touch on that a little bit later, because I think me and Dan have got quite a lot of questions to ask about you from a career stance and an inspiration.
It's a market, and not everybody makes it too. So that's a good area to touch on for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. We were the one thing that me and Dan always ask people who either have been or live in the city. We ask them, a section of questions that are probably more beneficial to me and Dan than anybody else. So I'm going to ask you
our listeners.
Yeah, and Dan's absolutely right, because we've had podcasts with we did one with Max, who's a Daft Saint, and obviously he was a former restaurateur in the city, and obviously we were asking him about spots to eat, and he gave us some fantastic suggestions. And there were people in the UK who were going over this year who were like, "Thank you guys so much for that. I've now got a list of places where I can go." My first question for you personally is, if you're out on a night in the city and it's going to be a decent night and a good night, what's your favorite drink? And there is a caveat to this. You're not allowed to say hazy IPA citrus blitz?
No citrus blitz. Well, if citrus blitz isn't available, I should go grab the can.
Yeah, you should.
It's early for a can. I'll grab it soon.
Yeah. Me and Dan would be absolutely throwing them down our neck if we had them.
Yeah, I could ship you guys a pack. We can figure it out. I can send you guys a 4-pack.
God, me and Dan are not going to turn that down, mate. I can assure you.
Just make sure there's some in stock when we get over. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. So, well, we don't have to worry about that because I've seen Jay, and I think Jay has got a secret second job, which is you're going to grocery stores and finding out where this damn stuff is. I've seen you pop up on all your social platforms, just saying, "Look, here's some. We've got some here. Here's some here."
You have to be your number one buyer, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, look, if the tattoo and the art sort of fails you, you can certainly go into marketing, my friend, without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, Urban South is my favorite brewery in New Orleans. I do like their juicifer out of Gnarly Barley, but Urban South, I just think they're so. We went to their place when we was over in April. I tried like 6 different beers. They're all amazing. They're just such a good brewery.
Yeah, I'm not really a beer person, but it was great. Like not to be biased to my own beer, but the Citrus Blitz was amazing. And I tried a bunch of other Urban South stuff, and yeah, they're amazing. It's a great place. Yeah. And then I was
gonna say, as an artist, you must appreciate their cans because it's even their cans. I look at them, go, that's like beautiful. Some of the designs they have.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's my favorite. We came over when that had just been released, hadn't we, Dan?
Oh, that's cool.
I absolutely love it. So I've got that hanging up in my bar.
Hold on, let me go grab my can real quick.
So for anyone who's not on YouTube, Mike just got his Juvie juice out.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a euphemism.
Yeah, people are probably thinking in the UK, like, they don't know who Juvie is. So Juvie juice is that. Yeah. No, it's not. It was a can of Juvie juice, which for me is sensational. And we were drinking it at a jazz fest as well, weren't we, Dan? It was solid drink.
The Citrus Blitz, NOF.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get some. We're going to get some, but also I think we're going to touch on that a little bit later.
When you guys come to the tattoo shop, I'll have some for you guys. And I have a print with you guys that you guys can roll up and say.
Cool. That's wonderful. Right. So quickly, you yourself said you're not really sort of ale beer drinker. So what is your favorite drink when you're out and about? And
it's actually a weird drink. I'm probably the only person that would do this drink.
Go on then.
I get a Moscow Mule with Tito's vodka, and I get it topped off with cranberry. And I get that at every bar. And like a mule's kind of like, it's easy to make, but you could tell when a place makes a good mule. And that's how I rank my places in my head.
Yeah.
It sounds quite interesting.
That is interesting. I think
a lot of people forget the cranberry, and a lot of people don't do it. And I'm like, all right.
I'm doing an online meme at the moment because I'm jotting that baby down.
Yeah, it's good. Give it a try.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Are you a frequenter of bars and stuff? Do you like the bar culture in the city?
Yeah, I like more like the dive bars and all that. I like to go there and all that.
Jay, if you ever listen to a pod that me and Dan have done, you know now that you're one of our favorite people in the world because we just love dive bars.
Dive bars.
Cheers to
dive
that.
bars are the one.
Yeah, we gotta go dive bar when you guys are here.
Yeah,
on a little bar tour.
I'll never.
That's actually
never ever.
That's a good segue into another question that we would have asked. What is your favorite? Have you got? Because yet again, the Brits when they come over, we love everything culturally about the city, and we would try and do that. But when darkness descends on the city, we're out looking for bars. It's a very British thing. We love to go, crawling around the dive bars. So if you could give me and Dan 2 or 3 of your favorite dive bars, what would they be?
That's tough. I like the Rusty Nail a lot. I watch a lot of games at the Rusty Nail. A lot of 1:00 games. Finn McCool's. I watch a lot of night games. So
yeah.
And then where else? It's tough. I'm bad with names too. I usually just show it to
Yeah. Well, look, Two is more than enough.
That looks good. I'll go there.
I can take you there. I just can't tell you what it was called.
Although
exactly.
we have
that sounds like me. That's yeah. I was going to say that sounds like us every time we're over there. What was that name of the bar?
Bar was it?
No idea. But
I don't know. Let me look at it on Google Maps and see where we was.
My drunk navigation process got me there. So
I can.
That's
so
how
I
you
can
know it was a
safely,
good night, though, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. I can safely say that the majority of bars that I've drunken in New Orleans, the only way I can tell people what they're called is because I get the geo tagging on my photos up and go, yeah, it looks like we was in this bar because that's close proximity to where the photo was taken.
Yeah, that's fair. That's how I do it.
Yeah,
I get the pin when I park my car. And I checked that in the morning. I'm like, where was it?
yeah.
Well, but I was gonna say, we touch on drinks, but in terms of like New Orleans is a big food city, and in terms of like coming from, the northeast, and coming from that kind of part of the country, and then coming down to somewhere which has got such a amazing culinary footprint in New Orleans. What is your kind of go-to foods in the city to eat, or even restaurants, if you've got favorites that you go to?
So I always take my friends to like by the track, and they're really good. They got like poke and stuff like that. For seafood specifically, I always go to Casamentos, and it's right next to a bar, Miss May's. And the bar has like a TV out back and an air hockey table, so I like playing air hockey there. And then the seafood restaurant, it's been open, I think, over 100 years or over like 96 years or something. And when you walk in, it's like an old kitchen. Like it looks like it's the 1920s. And it's awesome. Great food. Great seafood.
So I was going to say, coming from like Massachusetts originally, albeit West Massachusetts, like the seafood must be quite prominent in New England, because you think about, I associate New England with lobster rolls and things like that when I think about food. So it's obviously there's something that's quite prominent in both areas where you live now and where you was before.
And
but very different types of seafood.
Too. Yeah, so it's like I enjoy both for different reasons. Like up north, we got like the lobster rolls and clam chowder and like stuff like that. And then down here, like up north, you got more like haddock fish too, or like codfish. And then down here, it's more like catfish, like the char grilled oysters. Like you don't get that up north, but down here, that's chef's kiss.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
But so I enjoy both for different reasons. But it's cool to see both sides of it too.
Yeah, it's good for your palate to be able to go either way and go, well, I like both. I'll go with it.
Yeah, just a quick, probably a last sort of question on the city before we sort of roll into your career and what you're up to at the moment, Jay, is what's the one thing that you would say, and you might have already touched on this, but what's the one thing that you would say is your favorite thing about New Orleans, overall?
Overall, like, not to be like basic or anything, but like really just like touching on the energy, like the feel down here, like you don't get that feel like anywhere else. And like just the things you bump into, like going to Jazz Fest. You guys said you've been to Jazz Fest, right?
Yeah.
Just like after Jazz Fest, the stuff that goes on, like when you're walking through the streets and like there's just a random house, like, and it's a big party with a band and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't just walk down the street and get that in Massachusetts.
No, we touched on that before. We when we went to Jazz Fest, I think it was the last day we went down, wasn't it? And we were going over to the Bayou to go to a restaurant that Max's cousin owned, and we were walking down the street, making our way afterwards, and being there. And exactly what you were saying, Jay. There was just a house there, and there was a band on the front porch just doing a live gig, and. Yeah, I mean, where else do you get that?
Yeah, you don't get that.
Craziness.
And then nobody even knows each other. Everyone's just
And we could have walked up, couldn't we, Dan? We could have walked up, and we know without a doubt they'd have just said, "Come through, get this, do this, have this."
Yeah,
I mean,
Another example of that 2018 game. So it was me and my brother. My brother's a Rams fan, and the whole time the crowd we're surrounded by Saints fans. We sat on the Saints side every time. and everyone's buying him beers and all this stuff. I'm like, yo, I'm the Saints fan. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, it's so different down here because it is like a hard place, but it's also a very like generous place. Like, they always say if you love the city, it'll love you back, and like I kind of take that to heart. Like, I just pour the love into the city.
Oh, I remember when I went to my first game, and we're sitting there. The people behind us said, "Let us buy you a drink," because they couldn't believe that these 3 British guys were there for the game. It was like, "No, we're here for the game." And it's like, "No, you're tourists that have just stumbled across some tickets." It's like, "No, we genuinely flew here for this game." And like, beers in the Dome aren't cheap. You know, you're looking at like 15, $16 for a Bud Light, like a shitty beer.
Yeah.
And then this guy said, "I want to buy all 3 of you a drink." It's like, well, it's like $50, $55, including tip that you're spending on a drink for us, and you don't even know us. It's just, just says it. Everyone's so generous and just welcoming to you.
It's the hospitality, isn't it? That's the hospitality of the region.
I mean, people talk about.
look at Jay with his little marketing PR stink going on again.
Jay, he's gonna have Nick just like saddling up to Loomis, being like, "Mickey, look, we do some good writing. Can you stock it?"
Yeah.
You have to slide it over.
Get the Falberg stuff. Sold out. No one likes it. Get on the Urban South.
No.
Hey, look, I would agree with that as well, though. Get that urban South. We've touched on Urban South, damn.
Yeah, I love it.
But there are I'm going to pretend we're on the BBC. There are other reputable breweries in the area as well.
Yeah, I like that Purple Haze. I like the Purple Haze.
Yeah, God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jay, right. So, like, remarkable for me that you had the fascination with the Saints. You were a fan of the Saints. Obviously, you eventually go to the city. You're there literally for a short period of time, and you come out of the city, and you're like, right, I'm moving back there. I'm assuming that obviously you were saying you moved in 2020, and that was a hard time to move. And hey, look, kudos to your better half for going with you as well. I respect her more than I respect you.
But, I was like, "There's no way you're actually coming," and she was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "We're going." I was like, cool.
I love it. I wish Nick could do that. I wish my wife would say, "Let's take the kids to New Orleans, live." I'll be like, "Yes, let's go."
Yeah. But you went down there, and obviously, your beginnings. So you're a tattoo artist. You're also an artist. What sort of came first there? Were you more of an artist and then sort of went into the tattoo industry? How did that happen for you?
So, like, growing up, I was always like an artist. I didn't take it serious until after high school. I took it serious in college. But so I was always an artist, and then my second year of college, I started tattooing. So technically, the art came first. I was always the artist first.
Yeah.
But
Jay, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Have you got a photo of your first tattoo
that I've done? I can't find a photo. I could find a photo. I'm friends.
Yeah, not for no. It's not for now. It's I'd love to when I come over to get my tat with you in November. I'd love to see what your first tattoo was. When you just want to see what the progression is.
So my first tattoo ever was a tiki. It was like this tiki mask, and everybody thought it was good because they thought all the shaky lines were just like wood effect, and I was like, that worked.
But I do the same with my tattoo artist. Like when the first tattoo she did for me, so she's done pretty much most of my sleeve. But the first tattoo I got was I wanted the Statue of Liberty face. And I was like, I've got to go to a good artist for this, otherwise it's going to look horrendous. And I sort of scrolled through her Instagram as far back as I could go. And you can see that, you can visually see the progression of an artist from when they start as they get better and better. And, it is probably my favorite tattoo that she did, to be fair. I just absolutely love it. She's great.
Yeah, if you go on my Instagram, you could scroll far enough back to the days.
Yeah.
I left it all up. A lot of people take it down, but I was like, whatever.
No, but I think it's testimony to you as an artist to show your progression, how you improve as an artist. And everyone strives to improve at everything they do, whether it's a career or a hobby. Like me and Mike strive to be better at podcasting every episode we do. We're not going to delete the ones that were crap, but it's the same with like being an artist.
Dan,
like, look at my journey.
Can I just point out something to you? There were none that were crap. There was somewhere we were slurring quite a bit, but there were none that were crap.
It just brings character to the show. So
yeah, exactly.
But Dan's touching on a point which I think is absolutely right about progression in life. It's if you've still got the stuff up from Instagram when you were at the beginning, and you can see where you are now, and your stuff, I'm coming over to America to get a tat with you, Jay. Funny enough, my story is like I always wanted tattoos, and then I turned 50 in lockdown.
Yeah.
And when I turned 50 in lockdown, one of those moments where you think, why the fuck haven't I got one yet? And I thought the very first moment I can come out of lockdown, I'm getting a tattoo. So now I think I've had 4 in the last sort of 2 years. I'm going to be getting another one from you. But literally, and it's one of those, but I was saying about the progression. And the thing is, it's like you show where you are now, and you're so good at what you do.
Thank you.
But then what that tells people is that, if anything, it's only going to get even better.
Yeah.
And
grow a little bit, every project, every tattoo that chops the girl, you know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to ask you a question about your art, Jay, in general, because I'm not like an arty person. Like, I can't look at art and go, "Oh, this is," like some people look at it and they come out of these buzzwords and things. I can't do it, but I look at your art and I wrote down some notes on things that I see when I look at it. And interestingly, one of the first things I wrote down was acid house, because you're don't forget to smile piece. And obviously, I didn't know at that point that your family are from Chicago originally, which is where acid house started. But I look at your work and I see so much in it, and it's like like when you see like a Walter Anderson piece of work, you go, I know that's Walter Anderson because I know that's his style. Like when I see people post your work, I know straight away. I was like, that's Jay Frostt work. I know because it's so distinctive. But you've got so much going on in your work, but it all comes together so well. Like I see like almost like Japanese influences, new school tattoo influences, graffiti. Your colors are really vibrant, but almost a little bit gritty as well. And underpinning a lot of that is just New Orleans. Like it's just such a distinctive type of art that you have that it's like, and I see that as a compliment to you to say, I know it's your work because it's so distinctive. Is that something you go for intentional? Is it just comes out when you do it?
It kind of just comes out. You know what I mean? It's that energy connection too. Yeah. So I'll talk about the energy a lot because I just feel it kind of like on a different level. And the whole time, you could look back to when I first started like doing this style. I started it like in college, and it's developed to this. Yeah. But it wasn't always this. But like the more I understand New Orleans, it's weird because I feel like I kind of more understand myself and like what I'm trying to do on the canvas. And exactly how you explained it, like a lot going on, the vibrant colors, but also like not so vibrant all the time. And then just all the different characters, all the different stuff working together. I feel like that's what New Orleans is to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crazy place, but it's beautiful. Like it's beautiful when you really break it down. So,
but so that would touch on the point, and that would sort of go back to obviously, and I don't know because obviously myself and Dan have been following you for a couple of years now. But I'm assuming then if we went back to 2019 and looked at your work then, and then sort of just carried on looking through the progression of your work until it is today, you would see the impact on probably what the city has brought to your art, which yet again sort of touches on everything that you sort of almost stand for about the fact that you went to the city, you realized it was for you, and you did it at a period where it was like nobody would have, I've got adult sons. If they had asked me in 2020, right, I'm going to go and do this, Dad, I would be like, no, you're not. You realize what period of life we're in. Yeah, but fair play to you. You did it. But it's more about the progression of your art, which is you've taken inspiration from the city and it's reflected in the art that you do, which yet again, is putting, throwing you to prominence. You were talking earlier about Saints Twitter and how helpful it was to you. And I think me and Dan would probably both agree it's been hugely helpful for us. I mean, Saints Twitter is why me and Dan met. You know, we're both in the UK, awesome. But we met because of Saints Twitter. Obviously, there's a whole lot of negative crap that goes on in social media, but myself and Dan, I mean, we could probably sit here all day and talk to you and the audience about how beneficial Saints Twitter has been to us.
It's crazy. I don't know if other
exactly
have like a group like this, but
yeah,
Saints Twitter is really a staple. Like, there's other people too that are like successful from Saints Twitter and it's just community. It's just all love, giving back to love.
Yeah,
like,
it's like you did the work for Hold the Mayo, didn't you? With the Platality. Well, I think you've got it on the Platality shirt. It's like again, it's just Twitter has pulled. I do like that one. I'm gonna have to try and get a copy of that one when I get over. I've got the Mardi Gras one. I've got Respect Your Body, and I've got the traditional. Look at this motherfucker. But yeah,
me and Dan
in the white one.
Myself and Dan spend a lot of money on export
shipping
and tax.
I've got Devin to send me some shirts to a hotel in New York because that's where I was going on holiday, so I could get them there rather than him not have to pay the international shipping. We're just suckers for that. For me, one of the things I always do when I go to the city is I try and buy like T-shirts and merch from like local independent businesses because I think that's almost as important as buying their food and things because you're advertising them as well when you're not there. So grabbing T-shirts and things is big for me when I'm over.
That's where like that's the character of the city. I mean, all those people making the T-shirts and the art and all that. That's like the bones and the structure of it all. So anytime you get a chance to support one of them, it's always right.
I think we bought last time we was over. We bought a book off a guy who had written in the. He was just in the French market, selling a book about his life growing up in. I think he grew up in Baton Rouge, and we was just like, do you know what? Let's buy it and give something back to him because he's an independent seller trying to make a career.
Also,
like,
he was exactly, and he was talking about how hard life had been. He was a reformed character. He was now, I think. He was he was influencing young people but it was all about the sort of life that he'd grown up with and the fact that he'd been able to get to a point in life where he could put that behind him, however, through therapy or, maybe, he'd been imprisoned and all that stuff. But me and Dan were just like, nah, let's buy it. Let's support someone who's trying to do something. Exactly. Pay it forward. Exactly right. Your vision now for you going forward, because obviously you're highly renowned now for the work you do via the studio with the tattoos and stuff, but obviously you're balancing that now with a career in art. What's the bigger passion, or are they part of an entirety?
They definitely go together. They go hand in hand. Like it's hard to choose one over the other. I don't know if I could ever choose one over the other. But
do me a favor, Jay. Don't choose art over tattooing before the 1st of November, because then I'm fucked when I come over. So, I need you to keep on plugging through, mate, just until then. For me personally,
they are two different worlds too, though. It's crazy. They're not. I always say, it's kind of like speaking two different languages. Whole two different planets, and it's a lot to juggle, but it's fun. I love it. So. It grows. It goes.
And it was it's remarkable actually when you look at your journey sort of on social media, because one of the things that, and I think it's brilliant, is the murals that you're doing. I mean, God, and do people come to you and say, Jay, I've seen your stuff, can you do this? Is this something that you advertised, or was it someone saw your work and just thought, we want Jay to sort that out for us?
First one, I just did my first mural. I'm trying to get more murals, but I work large scale already, so the giant paintings and all that. Most of them are people just see my work and then they end up liking it and they reach out, and then one thing leads to another. And then right now I got a couple people talking to me about murals that we're trying to set it up. Nothing official yet, so it's coming, but that's definitely like something I want to crack into in the next couple of years, doing more and more.
Me and Dan were talking about, but the mural that you did, obviously for a family. And the one thing, Jay, I'm going to be honest, we were talking about diaper bars earlier, and you did a mural, and I even showed I was like showing my wife yesterday, and I was saying, look, this is Jay, this is who we're chatting to. Look at his work, and she absolutely loved your work. And I said, oh, look at this mural that Jay's done. And she sort of looked at it, and then she sort of was going through it, and there was a part of it which she just sort of laughed at, and it was the fact that mural that you did, you've got the Erin Rose pub. Yeah, that's my favorite bar in New Orleans.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm actually, if you can get a print of that mural on a t-shirt, I'll have it, mate, because that's genuinely, it's my favorite place to be. Dan will tell you, you know, if we're arriving at different times in the city, Dan knows where he'll find me. Yeah.
So there's two places you can find Mike in New Orleans, right? If it's before midnight, you're probably going to find him in the Erin Rose. If it's post midnight, take a stroll down Frenchman and you'll find him there, because he's a creature of habit when he comes over, and he's like, there is two things. He says to me, now we always share a room, and I say to him, like, I'm jet lagged, I'm tired. He goes, I'm going to Frenchman. I'll see you back at the room. And it's like, all right, fine. I know. Yeah. And he gets me in the Erin Rose, he gets me on the Guinness or whatever, and it's sitting on top of the cocktails and the hurricanes and whatever else I've been drinking. It does not end well for me.
Coffees? You get the Irish
coffees? God, they're
wonderful. The frozen one as well.
Yeah.
I just like the window they have at the front where you can just look into the bar. It's completely open. You sit there.
That's another bar I love going to. I catch a few college games there too. Like on Saturday here and there. And then Frenchman, I'm always on Frenchman, always at the Rambler.
Jay, you're my man. You're my man. Literally, it was like we go over there, and we're going over there. Obviously, we're coming over there in November.
Yeah.
There are 6 of us from the UK going. We're meeting so many people.
We're gonna meet at the
city,
and we're gonna go.
Well, the thing about it is that a lot of the people, like, I'm a slightly older gentleman, so I can party and I can certainly drink, but I know what I like.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, when all these young bucks come over, and they are a lot younger than me, including Dan, they're all young bucks, but I'm like, yeah, I'll party with you for a period of time, but then I'll see you later, because I'm going to go and do my shit, the shit that I enjoy, the shit that gives me comfort. But as Dan said, Dan never worries about me. If I disappear at 11:30 and we're in a bar, Dan sort of just sits there and says, I know where that bitch has gone.
This is you in the Erin Rose. Look at the stadium.
I can't see you, mate.
Yeah. Did you face down in a Guinness?
Yeah.
I've gone to bed at that time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that picture, mate. That wasn't one of the most flattering, but anyway, let's swiftly move on.
Swiftly.
So Jay, talking from an arts point of view, what are your ambitions? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? How does it work for you?
So I know for sure, like this year, I'm working on the New Orleans series, and it's going to be either 15 or 17 pieces.
Yeah.
And these are the smallest ones behind me. The rest are 6 feet, 7 feet. So I know I want to do that. And then, next for me, after like I'm done working where I am now, would definitely be opening my own place, opening my own gallery. And I definitely want to expand to other states, but New Orleans is going to be like a staple of my life forever, for sure. Like I'll always be here for Saint season, probably Mardi Gras season, and so forth. So,
do you ever think about doing like collaborations with other artists that you see their work, you go, I'd love to do something with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always open to working with other people. Anybody really. Like if you got a good idea, I'm down to bring it to life. Like, love doing that. Love coming together with other people. So
it's one of the other artists that I know from the region is Matt Selby, who's down in Ocean Springs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work, but his work is so vibrant and bold. It's just like looking at his work and look at your work is like a joy to my eyes to be able to because I like that kind of thing, the real bold, vibrant nature of things, especially like when you do your pelicans and your crocodile or your alligators and things. And it's just those bold lines mixed in. I love that kind of stuff.
Jay,
if I was over for longer, I would definitely hang on, Mike. Hang on, let me finish.
No,
go on. Let me finish. I'm just going to put it out there because if next time I come over and it's for longer, I definitely would like you to do like a pelican or something on my arm. Cool. There.
We can set that up. I would love to take a trip to London. I've never been, so.
You bring your gear with you.
You can stay at mine or Dan's.
I invite everyone to stay at mine. I got a New Orleans bar at the back of my garden. Mike's on the back of his garden. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But also the one thing I would say, Jay, is that me and you have to have a conversation with Dad about the fact that he's got no color on his tattoos, none whatsoever. I haven't got much. But I've got a spot, and when we come over to do my tat, I will have color in it. I do like the black grey look, but I like a splash.
Yeah.
Dan, unfortunately, you haven't got a splash, have you, mate? And we need to convince you to get a splash.
Yeah, I'm a fan of black and grey. I like both. They both have their, perks.
My tattooist that I use at home, she's big on color, so she must like when I come in and go, just black and grey, please. And she's just like, But she's my voodoo. He did a great job on that. Like just with
it looks good from here, the angle.
It's just crouching. No, I definitely will. I'll send you a profile. She's got some good stuff. She's big on like Pokemon and that kind of style. Like
I love it. My whole leg,
Pacific Rim.
I just finished my leg, and my whole leg is Pokemon. So,
wow.
Yeah, she's all about that. Yeah.
The shop I work at is it's an anime shop. I know.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of pop culture stuff and all of that. So when you come in, it's very museum-ish. So.
They were two of the other things that I actually wrote down that I see in your work, like anime. And there was I think there's one of the ones I saw on your website. It was like a woman. It's almost like dotted, and that was I saw the pop culture. You think back to sort of pop culture stuff, but just a mix of stuff that all hits the spot for me. I'm not just saying it because you're on. It really is all those things that I love. I grew up sort of Beastie Boys and that kind of stuff. So with the graffiti, and then grew up around people who listen to a lot of acid house. So I saw that smiley face everywhere when I was growing up. So it hits that nostalgia for me, definitely for sure.
Yeah, and by the way, Jay, we're certainly not blowing smoke up your ass because
I appreciate it. I love it
because I'm coming in to have a tattoo, so that you don't permanently put something on your body if you're not a fan. So
I'm excited about it, and this is all the stuff you guys are saying. That's the stuff I want for my art, and those are the people that I want to reach. So I'm glad it works. You know what I mean? Because not everybody can take that many things and put it together, and it works out.
Yeah.
So
no, but it works. That's the thing. It's
that's
if
the
I
point.
listed all these things off and said to someone, "There's a guy who can put all of this into one piece of art," they go, "Nah," and I'd be honestly, and I'd show them, and they'd be like, "Fucking hell, that's amazing!" And we're not just saying it genuinely.
That means a lot.
He hits all the spots. No, we
Jay,
mean it as well.
just a couple of things. Obviously, Dan, I think was talking about collaborations with artists in the city and stuff. You've obviously done some collaborations in the city. One of them, obviously, with NewOrleans.Football and the Nick Underhill, Urban South. How did that come about? Because I know, obviously, Nick bought your painting, didn't he? Was that the first stage of it? So you sort of built the relationship with the fact that he bought that, but it's an absolutely wonderful thing for you to again we talked about your marketing skills, but it's a wonderful thing for you to have sort of done that and then suddenly become embroiled in something that's so popular in New Orleans, which is obviously that sort of website and everything. How did that come about?
So working with Nick is that's crazy. That was a dream come true to me. So I followed Nick since when he first started, and I started doing all that. And then I moved here, but I've never had no connection to Nick other than that. And then one day he hit me up for a tattoo. I think the tattoo came first. So he got tattooed, and it was a good time. He was a cool guy. And then a couple months later, he hit me up for the painting, and that was my first big sale in New Orleans. And again, credit to him because that really got the ball rolling for me. So
all right. So did Nick sort of hit you up and say, "Can you do the painting?" It wasn't something that you'd already sort of creating? It was sort of a bespoke thing, or
yeah, it was like he reached out to me and he was like, I'm opening a set, I'm doing my own set, and I want a painting. And then he told me the guidelines of what it was. I had to do the whole. So if you notice, there's no like Saints symbols. There's no Superdome. There's technically nothing Saints related in that whole painting. And that was like the challenge from the beginning. And I was like, how the hell am I gonna do that? But it ended up being one of my favorite pieces. And then that really launched the style to what I'm doing now.
Yeah, so. It's a phenomenal piece, and it's wonderful for you because obviously, especially regionally, it gets you great exposure. You know, the stuff that Nick's doing over there is absolutely fantastic. You know, not only you know, you think about that journey coming back and then suddenly creating a sort of business where you're employing people from the local area. But then you're also getting people from the local area who are artists or, you know, engineers or whatever to work. You know, personally, I think that's great.
Right. I was going to say it's a similar journey to you as well, because I might be wrong, but I believe he's from the Northeast as well originally. And obviously he came back from covering the Patriots to come back to New Orleans. So almost like geographically, he's done a similar thing to you. He's come back to the city, fell in love with the city and came back to the city. Yeah. It just shows, it's a city. It's a city. It's enchanting.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you connect to the city, like there's not much you can say about it. If you connect, it's just it launches.
No.
It's like nowhere else in America, I think. I've traveled quite well around the States and I haven't found anywhere like it. I mean, my family loves New York, but New York's not New Orleans.
Yeah.
Nowhere near New Orleans.
There's other places, but nowhere's here for sure.
Yeah.
No,
so
absolutely.
I was going to say on a similar note to what Mike said, obviously you've just finished a fantastic piece of work for Brian Brazil. Was that a similar thing? Did his family reach? And I mean, there's poignancy in that piece as well. Like you captured it so well, the work you did for his sister and things like that.
Yeah,
it's quite a beautiful piece.
Absolutely beautiful piece.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, today's the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary of his
sister.
Oh, wow.
Up to that family. And well, his dad reached out to me originally and just contact through Twitter. And again, I feel like it's Saints Twitter, you know what I mean? Just always sharing the love. And his dad reached out to me, told me what they wanted in the painting. Originally, they were inquiring about my Sir Saint piece. Yeah. But then he ended up just ordering a commission. So he told me what he wanted, how he wanted Ella represented. And then I found out Ella's nickname was Ella Bear, and I put the little bear driving the bus.
Yeah.
And then it's Sir Saint stepping out. So that was fun to work with them, and they're great people. We had a drink with them at the bar. I got to meet Brian. He was a cool guy. Wishing him help and success, obviously, throughout the career.
Yeah.
But I get to paint on his the fumble recovery. Charges in the preseason.
You got the ball, haven't you? I saw that. Yeah. That's. I mean, Jay, come on, man.
His number on it. So
Jay,
that's amazing.
Can I point something out to you, Jay? 5 years ago, you're in the Dome and you were getting excited about the city. 5 years later, you're getting shit like this, which is remarkable.
It's unbelievable. This is all living the dream.
And do you know what? I think me and Dan were both. We couldn't be happier for you. It's a wonderful story that a guy just thought, I'm picking it up. I'm moving to a city. At a really bad time.
Yeah.
And you look sort of 2.5, 3 years later, and it's like, yeah, man, you keep grinding. You do your thing.
A lot of artists come and they fail here, and it's
it's
crazy. Just I'm so grateful and appreciated of the success, and I don't take a day for granted that I'm doing this. You know. So
it's really,
and then
it's
crazy here because you could ask. My parents, I told my parents I was moving to New Orleans in the 8th grade. I'm going. I've been here. And they were like, what? And then 2018, and then a couple years later, and now 3 years in, and we're painting footballs for Saints players. It's
wow.
It's insane. It's a dream.
It's incredible. And the connections you get from that, apart from just individuals, the fact that obviously we know based on your sort of ability to market the beer that's being sold. But also but it's great for you because that's again, let's be honest about it. It's marketing for you. You work with that, and Saints fans see that you've worked with the families or you've worked with Nick, hey man, that's gonna do you the world of good, and we're really pleased to see that. Because
and working with you guys too, this is another one. Maybe.
You're boosting us. We ain't boosting you, son. I can assure you. But
no, I was going to say one.
Yeah.
So one thing is, if you could, and I did respond to NewOrleans.Football, was like, could you get Jay to design you up some t-shirts? Because whilst they do what they say on the tin, I'd love to see you go to work and give Nick and Mike and Brooks and Kevin some funky ass t-shirts to wear. That'd be cool.
Jay, the one thing I'd say about the NewOrleans.Football t-shirts is there was no seasoning on it.
Me and Nick are working on it. There's something.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear it.
I'm glad
to hear it. Hey, look, Jay, I think
I was going to say that's one thing about the majority of the podcasts and the sports media and stuff in New Orleans. They've all got like something going on. They've all got a little bit of spice to them, and it's it's a it's a reflection of the city. It's like, I just love it. I love it. I cannot wait. It's like 52 days now till I can check in for my flight. Is it less than that?
Yeah,
you better book your flight, mate.
It comes quick. I know.
Yeah. I'll be there. Don't worry about it. Even if I get a boat over.
The sick thing is, I've got to go to the week before. I'm going to Disneyland Paris with the kids for my son's birthday. Come home for a couple of days, and I'm like, see you later. I'm going to New Orleans, so I'm all over the place.
Good trip.
I love it.
Hey, look, Jay, genuinely, I'd like to say from myself and Dan, thank you so much, mate. Thank you for entertaining us and coming on the pod. We were really chuffed when Dan reached out to you and you were like, yeah, I'll do that.
I will say, I wasn't sure if Jay would respond or knew who he was, so I messaged Elise as well. So big shout out to our good friend Elise.
Elise is our girl. She's our girl.
Yeah, Elise is amazing. She's just the best.
I read your message, and then I got her text while I was reading your message. And I was like, they just hit me up, like, who's them? So I guys reached out. It was awesome.
No, we was talking about guests, and I was like, I said to Mike, I think it's really cool to have Jay on just to talk about it, because everything we've talked about, because I just think it's our listeners will love it. And I think it's great. And it's also, as you can tell from the way we've spoken, it's something that excites us, and we enjoy like looking at your work and stuff. Like, it's we appreciate it. From a personal level. We get a chance to chat to you. We're going to get a chance to meet you, and that's fantastic. And we are very, very grateful.
November, we definitely got to do some stuff together. And
well,
maybe one day we could come out to London. We could do some tattoos in London for Saints.
Hey, Jay, look, if you ever get the opportunity to come out here, you know that you are welcome with myself and Dan, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Hey,
you set up a studio in my bar. You just invite people in, get UK Saints fans to just come in and spend a day doing fleur de lis. And so that's the thing. I was thinking, I'm rambling now. Sorry, it's me rambling. One of the other things I was like, I wonder if I could get a Saint put on here as well, just like in the style that you do.
Well, wait. See, now, like, I got in touch. I got in touch with Jay, and I was saying about, obviously, I was saying about the 1st of November, and again, Jay, as I said earlier, I'm not sure you connected that it was the same person. But obviously, we were talking about the voodoo ragdoll. But I was talking to my wife yesterday, and I put the Sir Saint up, and I was sort of saying about whether or not we could have a voodoo sort of ragdoll, which was holding on to Sir Saint's hand as he was there and falling away.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
Do that, or we could do a Sir Saint voodoo doll too.
Oh.
That's not
Jay.
That'd be.
I'm not going to be rude, but I don't mean to be rude in front of a podcast of men. But I've just become erect.
Ignore him.
Oh yeah, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I do apologise. That's probably a very good note to try and end this podcast on.
Probably, yeah. Listen, Jay, we are incredibly grateful for your time. And that's to start your day there. You're going to get busy with your work day. Yeah. Thank you so much for spending some time talking to us. We really, really, really do appreciate it. And I can't personally.
Jay, you don't know how much we appreciate it. We really do.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all having me. and reach out. Let's talk. Let's chat.
Yeah. We'll see you. I'll see you in November for a tap, but we will definitely see you in November for a dive bar crawl.
Can't wait. I'm excited for both. I'm booked a day off for that too. So
Cool,
you got me.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.